Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Mallory if you're new here. So today I'm going to be doing coloring in It's the Little Things coloring book by Creative Paula. Now I already know exactly which page I'm going to, which is this one, the cute pandas. And the reason is I want to do a grayscale for this one. So I'm only going to use like 4 colors. And what better way to cheat than to use pandas because they're already black. So that's my intention. We'll see how it actually goes. Although it might not actually be cheating because I think it got a little difficult at some parts because of the black, but you'll see that in a minute. So obviously I put a piece of paper behind the back for using alcohol markers because it will bleed through, and I'm going to pin it in place. So these are the 4 colors that I'm going to be using. These are the Ohuhu. I always want to say Ohuhu. And someone did comment about that it is a brand, but not a marker brand. Anyways, besides the point, Ohuhu Markers is what I'm using. So I'm going to start with the background, and I figured it would be a simple choice to go with the gray, but like a neutral gray, you know, like the middle gray. This will be the middle ground because the pandas are going to be black. And then I'll do darker grays for all the other stuff, right? That made sense logically in my brain. I am still trying to get a hold of this whole blending thing and getting the markers to, you know, use them up before they get dry. And if you see in the top part in the background, there's that line there. That is because I didn't do it quick enough, or I stopped that section, moved on to a different one. So yeah, it's just trying to get my brain to remember these things. And again, I'm just going to say pregnancy brain because if you don't know, I'm currently extremely pregnant right now with my 3rd child. So we're going to go with that. But soon I won't be able to use that as an excuse anymore. But I will say that perhaps I can still use it for the fact that, like, I'm going to be super tired, and, well, I'm already tired all the time because of my 2 kids already. So, you know, whatever. Just being a mom, you know what I'm saying? Being a mom is hard work. If you are a mom or, you know, like a dad that stays home with their kids or whatever, let me know in the comments below because I love talking about my kids. And now that I do have kids and I have friends that don't, I remember being in their position where all I was hearing was people talk about their kids, and I was like, ugh, this is annoying. But now that's me, so here we are. And I totally get it because that's all your life is now, you know? Anyways, that was a huge rant. So with the black that I'm doing, I was really struggling with keeping the lines not blending together, so I decided to use a white pencil crayon to kind of create some sort of separation between the lines. And I think it worked, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, because if there was a better way to do this, clearly I wasn't thinking about it. And so anyways, moving on, I decided to do, I didn't want them fully white because I was like, man, that's kind of lame. Then I'm just like, you know, coloring in black. So I decided to do some shadows on the pandas as well with the light gray, and I don't know what happened with this part. I smudged it and anyways, I'm still, like I said, trying to get a hold of the grasp of markers and figuring out how they fully work because I still don't get it. I'm still struggling. And here I go with a white liner pen thingy majiggy. So anyways, doing all the cute highlights, and then I went back to a jelly roll. If you've watched my other videos, oh man, my struggle with jelly rolls. Whatever. And then I decided to outline the eyes, and I don't know if that was a good idea. I just don't know. I'm not sold on it. So I did, however, see someone use the jelly roll on their fingers to get it going, and that seems to be a good tactic to use. So anyways, here's the final page. I don't know what to do about that second panda with the black smearing. We're just going to move on. So here we go. On to the next page. Now, I know I wanted to use different mediums for each picture that I chose, so I was kind of looking around. I wanted to use my paint markers, but I knew I had limited colors with that, so I'm like, what can I use? Settled on this one, and, well, you'll see the final result. Like, my goodness. So again, I did put the paper in the back. However, I don't think that's necessary. I'm going to use my Simptap acrylic markers, and I'm hit and miss with these guys because they are either really dry or when I pump them, they end up bubbling up at the tip. And I don't know, I could just never get an even flow sometimes. And I don't know. Is it the pumping? Am I not shaking it enough? I feel like I shake it really aggressively and for a long period of time to see if it does anything different, and it doesn't seem to do anything different. So I don't know. If you have these or use these, tell me if I'm doing something wrong, please, because I just don't get it. Am I supposed to store them upright? I've been storing them upright. Maybe I need to store them on their side like markers. Anyway, moving on, I am doing the bread, and I wanted it to be like, you know, that Wonder Bread. I don't know. I'm sure most people know Wonder Bread, right? And it's kind of got like that nice golden crust to it. And this is the only brown basically that I had in my set. Not the best, and it wasn't what I was going for fully, but I had to work with what I had, and this is all that I had. And same with this bun. Going through them in my brain, I was like, sure, I've got colors for this. I've got a brown. And I didn't want to put both the browns like together because, it would just blend in too much, and I didn't want to use the dark brown as much as the bread slice. So it was a whole ordeal, and I tried to do some blending with them. Man, it looks like garbage when I'm washing this back. It's fine. I tried to make it kind of look croissant-y, but I don't think I accomplished that at all. I don't even know what it looks like. I guess the whole objective was to make it not look like a turd. I thought, moving on with the blueberries, I was like, heck yes, this will be my redemption, is the blueberries. Well, it was no redemption, let me tell you, because I only had like 3 blues, and I thought that I had a darker blue than this one, thinking, oh yeah, I can create some sick shadows with the dark blue that I had. And I even tested it. Here's the funny thing. I tested it on a different piece of paper beforehand, and it was a little darker on that test. So I don't know what happened, but now it looks like the reflective lighting or something. Let's just go with that. And here's the next big kicker. I thought I was getting stronger with the mice. Nope. I was like, I can't just leave them white. So I decided to do one orange for some reason because I couldn't go with brown. I didn't have a gray. So I was like, well, these colors look cute together normally. So, and then I try and salvage it with this cream and trying to blend it. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll give it like a sunburn or something. So then I put it covered in this red. Now I'm like, okay, great. It looks like the mice just got into some jam or something. I don't know. And then I turned them into rats, I think, by adding the pink tails. Do mice have pink tails? I should have just left it white. So now I'm just fixing the black outlines. Basically, at this point, I admitted defeat, that things just kept getting worse and worse with this page. And in hindsight, I really should have left the mice, white and not with a pink tail. But I thought I'd add some fluffy clouds and to break it up. Oh, here it is. I'm actually pretty embarrassed to show this, but here it is. This is the final page. I didn't want to use anything else. I just wanted to use paint markers, and this is what it turned out to be. So take it as you will. At this point, I'm like, I think that I'm an artist. Am I? Am I really? Questioning it all. I was going to leave it at just 2 pages, but then I'm like, nope. Gotta try and redeem myself somehow. So here we go. Let's flip through, find a different page, and I'm gonna basically settle on this guy right here. I'm sailing away thinking that I was an artist, leaving it all behind on a little paper boat. So let's go with this and see what I can do. I am gonna bring back the alcohol markers. Try these again. I picked out my colors. Here they are. And then, of course, I'm going to go with my comfort zone and add pencil crayon over top. So because I'm feeling pretty moody at this point, I decided to go with a nighttime-ish theme. And I kind of wanted to do more blending practice, so you will see me attempting, like I said, attempting to do some blending as well. And I am using the Copic markers and the Ohuhu markers for this, so you'll see a bit of both of them in this part here. I also really tried to keep in mind about the markers drying and leaving those weird marks when I reconnect, but I didn't know how to do that so fast when I'm trying to like blend the colors. And I don't know. It kind of worked okay, but I'm really struggling with the blending. And I've watched so many other people do it, and I'm like, that looks so easy. It's not. It's not easy. And then when you layer another color on top, it changes it, makes it darker. Obviously, I get that. But what if I just wanted the basic color that it is? Like I'm having a hard time grasping how to use these guys. And see, again, there's that, that seam there because it dried before I got to it. So I don't know how people do it so well. Anyways, again, another rant. And then some of the markers also bleed or like release more ink more than others. So that's also something that I'm trying to get used to. Now, I also realized that I am trying to blend colors that, naturally wouldn't really blend all that much like together normally. Like the brown and the blue. I mean, like that's pretty hard to accomplish, I feel like, in general. So whatever. I think overall it started to be not the worst. So I am happy with the result that I did get. And then with the bunny, I actually really like this technique that I did. And I decided to change the ears to do the same thing because the way that the alcohol made it look after made it look like more of a furry texture, which I really liked. So I was pretty proud of myself for that, I will say. I thought that was pretty cool. And then I just wanted to do a basic black tube, and I think I did the reflections pretty decent, and then some black paper. And yeah, I don't know, like I'm pretty proud of myself with this one. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling the redemption coming back. But I'll let you guys tell me what you think and see if it is an actual redemption. So let me know in the comments below because I'd love to hear. So after all that, I moved on to adding the pencil crayon on top. I wanted the moon to have like a glowing feeling vibe to it. And I think that it worked. And then I just added some stars. And I think I went too ham on the stars, I think. And they also look too unison. I tried to make it so that they were like really random, but I feel like when you're trying to make things random, it just doesn't work as well. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. I accept it as it is. And yeah, just worked on doing highlights and stuff, the glowing lights for the water, the fun reflections on the bunny and the paper, all that fun jazz. And I actually felt like I redeemed the enjoyment, if anything, from doing this page. Now, I also know what most of you are thinking, like, oh my gosh, Mallory, you chose really amazing colors for this page. Well, I didn't. I actually used the color cube from Sarah Renee Clark to help me with a color palette. So I wish I could take credit on that. I'm sure most of you were actually thinking of that, but anyways. So yeah, I did use the color cube. If you haven't heard of the color cube or don't know Sarah Renee Clark, which would be mind-blowing, you should definitely go check her out. So here's the final page. I do have to say, this made me happy at the end of the day after the two epic fails. So let's do a quick recap. Page number 1, the grayscale pandas. Fail. Huge fail on page number 2 with the paint markers. And here we go. Some sort of sanity has returned to myself with this page. Thank you, Sarah, for giving me the color palette. Well, she didn't give me the color palette. I did have to buy it. But either way, thank you for creating the color palette. Anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one. Bye!